Okay, welcome everyone to Equilibria's very first virtual happy hour. We are so excited that y'all are here. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is really special. We are joined by some EQ team members that wanted to enjoy this happy hour with our community. So I'm gonna let them introduce themselves, Lauren and Shruti and Sydney and Kaz.
Hi, everyone. We're so excited to be here with you tonight. My name is Lauren, and I'm a senior producer over at Equilibria. So I work on the creative and content team. So if you follow our social or get our emails, that comes from the team that I work on. And we're really excited to have this special night with you guys.
Hey, everybody. My name is Shruti, and I work in operations here at Equilibria. Very excited to be here and looking forward to mixing some drinks together.
Hello, I am Sydney. I am the team manager of the member education team here at Equilibria. So I will be working on these mocktails with everybody. And then in a little bit, we'll be going over some details on the new drink drops as well. So really excited to do that with you all.
Hi guys, I'm so excited to be doing this. My name's Kaz. I'm our community manager coordinator. So if you've ever sent a DM, I probably am the one that replied. So excited to do this with you guys, and we're gonna have so much fun. So, woo!
Kaz is also our cheerleader at Equilibria. I forgot to say who I am. I'm Amanda. I am the senior manager of integrated content, and I'm really excited to experience this with y'all tonight. And we have a very special guest who I will let introduce himself. This is Cal.
Oh, that's me. I am the special guest. Hi, my name is Cal Hudel. I'm a bartender here in the city of Chicago, and I've been doing that for about the last 10 years. I also own a ready-to-drink cocktail company called Hello Cocktails, so feel free to check us out.
We're so happy to have you, Cal. Thank you so much for doing this with us tonight. Just to let everyone know, you will be receiving a promo code for joining us tonight. It will be going into the chat, and it will be sent via email tomorrow. We are not going to be speaking it aloud because this is going to be shared further on our other platforms. So look in the chat to see your promo code. And I'm going to pass everything over to Cal to get us started tonight.
Excellent. Thank you, Amanda. And it's truly my pleasure to be here. I'm excited. I've worked in a number of different bars around the city, and the CBD cocktails or CBD mocktails are definitely something that's sort of been working its way into popular culture, and you're seeing them at a lot of different bars. And I can speak from personal reference that it's incredibly difficult to work with sort of like traditional CBD as far as how to integrate it into a cocktail in a really cohesive way. So having these drink drops available is something that's like super cool, and it's honestly really exciting to have something that just incorporates flavor in and of itself while also giving you your daily dose of CBD. We're going to be doing 3 separate mocktails today. The first one we're going to start off with is called the Spiced and Stoned. And that one is going to be incorporating the white peach. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab the white peach. And this is going to be a nice simple cocktail. We're just going to be building it all in the glass. So we'll just have a nice big Collins glass, pint glass. I tend to like larger beverages. So most of my glassware at home is going to be of a larger size. I always like to sort of start with our least expensive ingredients first. That way, if I am messing something up and I do have to throw something away and start over again, I'm not throwing away anything that's overly expensive or too hard to replace. But we're going to be doing this one with some lemon juice, fresh squeezed if you have it. If not, lemon juice out of the bottle will work very well. We're going to be doing a 1/2 ounce of the lemon juice. That's a lot. We're just going to dump out some of that. 1/2 ounce of the lemon juice, and then we're also using a really cool product called Seedlip Spice 94, which is just going to be a distilled or non-alcoholic distilled product. So essentially it just gives you a little bit more depth of flavor, a little bit adding some wonderful things. We're doing a full ounce of the Seedlip, and then we're also going to be throwing in 1 full squeeze of the star of the show. We're doing the white peach, which is obviously we're going to be where we're getting the stoned aspect, some stone fruit that we're adding into the drink. And then we're just gonna go ahead, we're gonna give this a nice couple stirs here in the glass just to make sure all of our ingredients are actually incorporated. And the really cool thing with making mocktails with sparkling ingredients is that as you add the carbonated beverage, it actually does some of the work of actually making it into a cocktail for you. It's starting to sort of agitate everything that's in our glass. So we're just gonna go ahead, we're gonna add about 4 ounces of our ginger ale. And then we can go ahead and we're gonna add our ice. So I was keeping mine in the freezer because ice tends to melt on you and you want a lot of ice. I feel that generally making mocktails, making cocktails, people sort of underutilize the amount of ice that is actually necessary for the chemical process that's realistically happening in the glass, whether there's alcohol or not. Ingredients, especially in their purest form, are going to be very punchy, and you want to really get enough ice that we are allowing for a dilution process, and then at the same time, keeping the drink as cold as possible. So we want to get our drink, either alcoholic or non-alcoholic, into the zone of where it is really delicious and best enjoyed, and we want to keep it there for as long a period of time as we can. So adding as much ice as we can to the glass, basically you want it so the ice is resting on the bottom of the glass and then also rising above the level of the liquid. So if you're looking here, ice goes all the way to the bottom, comes out of the top, and that's just going to make it keep it as cold and in that zone as long as we can. And then the cool garnish that we're doing with this guy, we're going to throw a cinnamon stick on here just to give it a really nice sort of winter spice flavor. We're going to throw a lemon or lime wheel in there as well, just to really give that extra olfactory sense. I always like to light the cinnamon stick, just char it a little bit, because that's really going to activate the smells, the aroma that is going to come. Otherwise, it's not going to smell overly strong. And about 35% of what you taste is going to be affected by what you smell. So if you're ever curious why people choose the garnishes that they go with, it's because they're trying to pull some of the subtle ingredients that are layered into the cocktail or the mocktail and really pull it to the forefront. So at this point, we have our spiced and stoned. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cheers you all, and whether we're drinking alcohol or not, pinkies are out when we're drinking fancy mocktails or cocktails. And that is absolutely lovely. I'm gonna set that to the side and we're gonna dive in to our second one. And I know I can't see any of you all, so if I do happen to go too fast, I'm typically an over-caffeinated person. Just yell at me or throw something at the screen, and I will know that I need to slow down my rate of talking. The next cocktail or mocktail we're going to be making is called the Sunrise Spritzer, and this one is going to be incorporating, you guessed it, the Sunrise citrus drops. And again, we're going to be starting with our least expensive ingredients first. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to grab our lime juice, and we're doing a full ounce of lime juice. And actually, I got a little bit ahead of myself. We're going to rim this glass first. So we're actually going to put a salt and sugar combination on the rim of the glass. So you can go ahead. The easiest way to do this is if you take any sort of cut citrus. So I have a bunch of limes that I've cut up out here, and you can just sort of rub it on the rim of the glass. And I generally find that the sugar and acid in the lime juice is going to allow the salt and the sugar to adhere a little bit. But we're just rubbing it right on the rim of the glass. And then I just have a nice little handy deli lid that I've just poured some salt and sugar on. And you just rub the part of the glass that you have applied the lemon juice or lime juice to. And then you have a really nice, neat rim. I like to do half of the glass as the rim. That way, if I decide at some point in the cocktail that I don't want any more salt or sugar, I have the option of just switching to the other side. Adaptability is key in all things. But now we have our rim glass and we can actually add the liquid to it. You can see how much of an issue that would have been if I had put liquid in and then I got to rim the glass. It doesn't work so well. That's when things get messy, and nobody really likes a messy bartender, I've discovered. But we're going to do a full ounce of the lime juice. I'm just going to assume you are all laughing at all of my jokes because I can't hear anyone. But we're doing a full ounce of the lime juice, and we're going to do a full nice big drop of the Sunrise citrus. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add a combination of grapefruit soda as well as club soda. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to put about 3 ounces of our grapefruit soda in these tiny little cans. You can always it's always going to be a little bit of a guesstimation process, but these hold about 7.5 ounces. So if you're trying to get 3 ounces out, you're obviously doing just a little bit under a half of one of these cans. And at this point, we're just going to give this a couple stirs. And it is a really lovely color, I have to say. And we're just gonna add some of our club soda as well, just to make sure that we don't have too much sugar. Anytime you have too much sugar, I mean, you always want to have a balanced drink. That's what's going to lend itself to being able to, makes your mouth actually want to drink it for a longer period of time. If it's overly sweet, if you're overblowing one specific part of your palate, that's when you get palate fatigue and it's no longer fun to either eat or drink something. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to throw our larger ice cubes in this guy. I'm saving the crushed ice for my last one. Been painstakingly making crushed ice over the last 2 days just so I have some crushed ice for this mocktail. Now that we have all of our ice in here, just gonna give it one more stir. And again, ice goes all the way to the bottom, comes up above the level of the liquid. And you can either garnish this one with a lime or a grapefruit. I find that the grapefruit soda has enough grapefruit flavor in and of itself that I like to do a little bit of a lime wedge. And I'm gonna throw another one on here too, just for fun, just to make it look good. I always find that a piece of fruit floating in a cocktail is really good. And there we go. We have our sunrise spritzer. Pinkies are out, yes.
I need to hear how these are tasting, y'all.
They're amazing. I'm not going to lie. I was slightly reluctant on the first one, like hearing white peach with kind of the spiciness. It is unreal. It is so good. Go out. I mean, honestly, this one's so good too. I was just really surprised about the first one, hearing that combo. It's amazing. And you put it together really well, Cal.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, I will say that this is a David Moore recipe. So if anybody doesn't like the cocktail, please feel free to be honest and tell me, because I didn't come up with it, so you won't hurt my feelings even a little bit. And, you know, naturally everybody's palate is unique and different and, you know, subject to what they like. So it's always a possibility that somebody might not like something. We try to make these with the goal of having it appeal to as many different people as possible, but please feel free to tell me. And, you know, I'm happy to give you any sort of tips that would allow for you to make it a little bit different that would appeal to your particular taste buds. But now that we have these two cocktails in front, and also the cool thing with the spiced and stoned, it's almost like if you think about any cobbler you've ever had, or anytime you've had like a peach cobbler or something, you're invariably going to be incorporating some form of cinnamon or allspice or something like that. So that's really nice. Anytime if you were to take any of these drops and you wanted to make up a cocktail for yourself, a really good rule of thumb is if you have seen in a recipe somewhere these two things go together, they're probably going to work pretty well. So if you ever want to just use those white peach, think of all of the ways that you've had white peach in your life and incorporate those into what you're putting in front of you. But for this last cocktail, or mocktail, I should say, we're doing the Orchard Smash. And this one's going to be the most labor intensive, I would say. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to use a cocktail shaker because we are going to be incorporating some blackberries and some fresh basil. The first thing we're going to put in here is we're going to put our basil. I like to kind of give it a little bit of a smack just before we throw it in there, really start activating the oils that are actually in the leaves themselves. That's what's actually going to bring that basil flavor into the cocktail. We're going to throw, I'd say about 5 blackberries in here, but realistically, you can go as nuts as you want with the blackberries. Especially maybe go more nuts when blackberries are in season in the summertime. But right now, 5 will do just fine for actually incorporating that blackberry flavor in there. And then we're going to go ahead and I would actually put the orchard drops in, the orchard berry drops into this before we muddle. And then the sugar that's actually in the orchard drops is actually going to help pull out some of that flavor that's in both the blackberries and in the basil itself. Sugar is a really good way. If you think of any time you've had a jam or something like that, sugar does a great job of actually pulling flavors out of things. So by actually incorporating this into it before we start the muddling process, we've actually, at this point, we've already started the cocktail working on the inside of the cocktail shaker. And we're going to go ahead and I promise it's just a muddler, but we're going to go ahead. And when we say muddle, I know a lot of times you'll see people going absolutely to town on what they're doing, but reasonably, you just want to do 2 really light presses. We're just activating the ingredient, or we're just activating all the pectins that are inside the blackberries themselves, or we're just activating all those oils that are in the basil. If you're pressing too firmly, you're actually killing the basil in front of you. If you've ever seen a leaf or an herb or something that starts to get black, it's because that process has already started to happen. And that's when you get that really overly vegetal flavor. So with muddling, you really want to kind of go light with it. So now that we have our mint, or I'm sorry, our basil, our blackberry, and our orchard berry drops in our shaker, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to add some lemon juice. And we're doing a 1/2 ounce of the lemon juice. And I'm using, I don't know if anybody has access to one of these. I'm actually, for measuring purposes, I'm using what's called a cocktail jigger. It helps me just get really sort of nitty gritty as far as like what proportions I'm putting into something. You don't actually need to have anything this fancy in your house to actually measure. If you have a shot glass, if you've ever taken a shot in your life, that shot glass filled all the way to the top is actually going to be 1 1/4 ounces of liquid. So you can kind of use that for a frame of reference. Also, any cap that you get on like a 750 milliliter bottle, like a screw top bottle of wine or anything like that, that cap will hold 1/4 ounce. So if you really want to get sort of fine dialed into how much of something that you're putting in there, that is a really easy and inexpensive way to make that happen for yourself. I'm gonna grab a little more ice. Give me one moment here.
Cal, you're giving us so many good tips and tricks. I feel like I'm gonna be a professional after this.
I like to say that after sitting through one of my classes, anybody can go get a job at whatever fancy cocktail bar happens to be close by you. And with actually, most cocktail bars are hiring right now, so that shouldn't be too hard. And we're just gonna go ahead, we're gonna put a ton of ice in here, and there's not a lot of liquid in here, so we're really gonna wanna give this a couple shakes just to make sure that we're getting all of the ingredients to actually mix together. And we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put the top of the shaker tin on. You really wanna push down firmly so you're activating that seal. And once it's got that ice in there too, the cold is actually gonna cause the metal to contract, and that's what's actually gonna make for a stronger seal. So I can actually hold it from the top, I can flip it around, I can do all sorts of the fun cocktail-y type of things that pays my bills. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna shake. Shaking, you always wanna think of having one hand on the top, one hand on the bottom. That way, if anything does happen, you're not actually spilling on yourself, on a guest, or whoever happens to be around you. And by having a nice firm grip, you're keeping yourself from actually flinging a cocktail or shaker across the room. I have done it. I know it sounds really cool, but it was really embarrassing at the time. But when we're shaking, you're just basically making a V coming out from your chest. And then the other side of that V is coming back. So one out, back in. And we're just gonna go ahead, we're gonna give it a nice hard smack, break that seal apart. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna strain this into our last glassware here. And actually, you can probably go ahead, I'm gonna go ahead and add my club soda just to really sort of facilitate the actual pouring out process, because otherwise it would take a little bit of time just because all the stuff that's in our cocktail shaker. And then I'm using both a Hawthorne strainer. It's called a Hawthorne strainer because of the really tight, fine coil that's on the top. Looks kind of like a slinky. And that's just going to help keep all the mint and little bits and blackberry seeds from getting into the cocktail. It doesn't really look as sexy as we want it to. Kind of looks like somebody, spit into a glass, in my opinion. And I'm also, just to facilitate that, we're going to be using a tea strainer as well. And we're just going to go ahead and we're pouring it into our glass. And we're gonna go ahead and now finally make sure we get those last bit of drops on the other side of the tin. Ooh. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna throw our crushed ice in here. And I always say that, a good cocktail, a good mocktail should be sort of a transformative experience. Could be in the middle of wintertime in Chicago, which is where I happen to be at this specific point in time. And by having a specific cocktail that pulls you into the summer months, like say one that is making me feel like I'm in an orchard in the middle of the summertime, is a really lovely thing. And then the last, we're just gonna pull this basil off to the side. We're gonna give it a really kind of just a gentle slap on the back of the hand. And we'll make some bunny ears in our cocktail. And there you have your orchard smash. Pinkies are out. Yes. Ooh, and that one's lovely too. And then we have the full lineup sitting in front. We have the Spiced and Stoned, we have the Sunrise Spritzer, and the Orchard Smash. Cheers,
Now,
y'all.
we had a question come in. I'd love it if you can take the time to answer. Now, I know that Sydney is going to give some insights on this as well, but we did have a question come through that someone wanted to know if you were going to add alcohol to one of these beverages, could you recommend an alcohol pairing with one of these?
Definitely. And I think that is always going to be a matter of personal preference. I think that in the right proportions, you could really go nuts with any specific type of liquor. I'm on a really big agave kick right now, so I really like mezcals and tequilas. And I think probably the Sunrise Spritzer grapefruit is a really sort of like a natural grapefruit and lime. You're essentially baking a Paloma for yourself if you threw some tequila in there. I think with the spiced and stoned, maybe gin. Seedlip is sort of advertised themselves as a non-alcoholic gin per se. So just by substituting in that gin for the Seedlip, you're going to actually still be having a lot of the same reminiscent flavors. And then as far as the Orchard Smash, I think whiskey of some sort would probably work best. You get this really nice sort of like hits of vanilla and saffron and cinnamon from the whiskey itself, and it'll just play really well with the berries and with the basil too. It just kind of gives you that sort of like berry cobbler feeling that you're drinking. So, but again, you can mix and match. Why not try one of every different type of alcohol and see which one you like the best? That's one of the things that makes my job so fun is everybody has to do research and development. Everybody has to learn things. All of my research and development and learning just happens to include drinking alcohol at the same time.
Thank you so much. Also, Coco Mears, our co-founder and CEO, joined while we were making cocktails. Coco, you want to give a little quick intro and hello?
Hello, everybody. I'm so sorry to be late, but I'm just like so freaking excited about this. Cal, thank you so much for all of your expertise and your help. Obviously we're so committed to making CBD accessible and, just helping women find what works for them and their daily routines and then boosters on top of that. So you have inspired all of us. You can put drink drops. We're going to get into this a little bit later, but the science is so powerful. They work so quickly. It absorbs so well into your body that you can put it in your morning tea. You can put them into your, daily water bottle that you have with you. But this nighttime ritual of, whether it's in addition to alcohol or a substitute, something that's good for your body that helps you wind down is just, it's like a whole new chapter, I think, for a lot of us. So thank you for making it fun. Thank you for keeping it real. And we're super grateful for all this awesome inspiration. And so great to see so many of you. This is so wonderful to be together tonight.
Cheers. It was my pleasure.
Thank you. We're going to pass things off to Sydney now, who is really going to tell y'all a little bit more about what the drink drops are all about. And they kick a powerful punch. So enjoy your cocktail while you are listening to Sydney.
Yes.
Mocktail.
Yes, your mocktails. So again, I am Sydney. I am the team manager of member education. So if you have, ever worked with a dosage specialist before, that is the team that I am on. We are always very excited to meet with our members and talk to them about CBD. So hopefully today serves as a good introduction to the drink drops. You have them in front of you. Feel free to continue sipping on that, sipping on whatever beverage you have, just as we go over some basics. So to get started, we're gonna take a look at the liquid itself. So what I really want you to notice about the drink drops is really just how clear the liquid is when you add it to the water. That's going to start out really, we're looking for that clarity because cloudy indicates that it's not necessarily mixed together well. And in order to get that CBD mixing with water, we are going to want it to be clear. So that is definitely the first thing I want everyone to notice about their drink drops. And that clarity that we have really does come from this patent pending technology called molecular dispersion. So in order to understand molecular dispersion, we are going to want to think about some CBD basics. And in particular, I want you to think about this one CBD basic, and that is what CBD naturally interacts with. CBD naturally interacts with fats. It is a lipophilic molecule. So that means it's going to bind to those fats fats being something along the lines of maybe an oil, whereas it's also going to repel water. And when it repels water, that might not necessarily be a great fit for a water-based beverage. Something that, we're all drinking all the time. Water is something we need. And a lot of people do want to be able to reach for CBD as they're hydrating. So in order to make that CBD lipophobic and hydrophilic, so that means not binding to fats, but rather binding to water, our biotech partner used a technology called nanotechnology, where they actually broke down those CBD molecules to be smaller than or approximately the same size as water. So about 25 nanometers. And that number is not necessarily something you have to remember, but it's just really, really small. And that is important for two reasons. Number one, when you reduce the particle size of CBD to the same size as water, the two will actually more seamlessly blend together and create that true solution, mixing completely rather than having some sort of suspension. A suspension would be more like mixing oil and water. Imagine mixing olive oil into water. Maybe you're cleaning a measuring cup after you do something with cooking and you notice that the water and the oil aren't mixing. That's what happens when CBD is in its natural state. So by creating those nanoparticles, not only have we been able to actually integrate that CBD into a water-based environment better, but it also means that the CBD is small enough to readily absorb into the mucosal lining of your GI tract without the need of being digested first. So that means these drink drops are going to start to kick in very quickly, typically about 10 to 15 minutes. And then they do offer support for an average of about 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. So you probably have seen CBD drinks in the marketplace before our drink drops launched. And one of the biggest differences between our CBD beverage, so our drink drops, and other CBD beverages is the type of the technology that we used. So what's really special about that molecular dispersion technology is it removes the carrier oil, whereas other types of nanoparticle technologies, such as nanoemulsification or liposomal CBD, will actually continue to use that oil carrier despite having that smaller CBD molecule. And that can mean a couple different things. One, those molecules do tend to be a little bit larger than that 25 nanometers, somewhere between, maybe 30 and 100 nanometers in size, which does mean that you have the increased likelihood of having to need to digest that CBD prior to it absorbing. So that would be with other technologies. We also do see that nanotech that is not molecular dispersion tends to be, a little less shelf stable. Our drink drops are stable for up to 2 years. That's their shelf life. And finally, you may notice with liposomal CBD or nanoemulsified CBD that the mixture is a little bit cloudier. And again, that would indicate that the CBD isn't entirely mixed into the liquid and means that it could separate over time. So ultimately, having that molecular dispersion is going to increase the shelf life of the product, the stability, and it can help make it a little bit easier for your body to absorb that CBD. So a lot of you probably do have some of our other products, maybe our daily gummies, daily drops, daily soft gels, all of which do contain CBD and an oil. And while you might be thinking, hey, my body is made out of water, shouldn't I be using all water-soluble CBD products? That's not necessarily the case. There is always going to be a time and place for your oil-based CBD products, and that time and place are your daily consistent doses. Oil-based products do tend to be better suited for that daily consistent use, especially because on average, they do tend to offer more extended support than those water-soluble CBD products do. They take a little bit longer to absorb the oil-based products, and then they stick around a little bit longer, whereas the water soluble products are going to absorb a bit faster, but not necessarily stick around as long. So just a brief little overview on some of the logistics of drink drops. Each bottle has 100 milligrams of CBD, that is 25 milligram doses. We recommend starting with one firm squeeze, so about half a teaspoon into 8 ounces of a water-based beverage of your choice. From there, gently shake or stir to combine, drink away. We do recommend waiting at least 30 minutes after you have finished your beverage to decide if you do want to increase your dose a bit. And just one pro tip, the drink drops are compatible with every beverage except for red wine, where it can interact with the tannins and form almost a sediment at the bottom of your wine. So if you're looking to enjoy your red wine, I would recommend skipping the drink drops in them. So just a little bit of a basic rundown on top of our yummy mocktails. At this point, I would love to open the floor for some additional questions.
Sydney, we've already gotten one in the chat.
Oh,
Mary asked us, she's waiting for her first order to arrive. Anything she should look out for / be aware of if I try drink drops with my initial routine?
So when you are trying drink drops with your initial routine, keep in mind that they really are meant for that as needed use. So what I would recommend is working with a dosage specialist if you're interested to find that starting routine with the other products that you have on hand, those daily essential products. So your drops, your soft gels, your gummies. Work together to find that baseline routine. And then when you are getting started with those additional doses of drink drops, maybe open up the notes app on your phone or grab a sticky note and just make some quick notes about how you're feeling after that dose. One of the most important things you can remember when you are playing around with heightening your dose maybe a little bit is that more CBD is not always going to be better. CBD does have a biphasic effect, so you can imagine your dose falls on a bell curve. Anything that's too little or too much could actually be ineffective. And a lot of our members do report feeling the opposite of the desired effect when they take more CBD than they need at a given time. So if you ever do try increasing your dose and notice that maybe you're a little bit tired during the day or even a little bit more energetic at night, don't be discouraged, drink lots of water and take that as a sign to try reducing your dose the next time you give it a try. Or always feel free to reach out to the member education team. We're available at dosage@myeq.com. And if you have made a purchase with us already, you are more than welcome to book your dosage consultation at any time. That is included with your first purchase with us.
So far, that's the only question that has come in. Do any of our team members have any questions for Sydney or want to share anything?
What's everybody's favorite flavor?
So this was my first time drinking all 3 all together. So I really feel like now I have a holistic view of them all. Hi, Cass. Love that you popped back in. I want to hear your point of view as well. And this is such a cop-out. I don't have one. They're all so freaking good. Might be leaning towards like an everyday drink, maybe the Sunrise Citrus, just because I feel like it is like a delicious grapefruit, like seltzer with seltzer water, like you're making your own like Spindrift at home. It is so good. So probably just like on an everyday, maybe Sunrise Citrus, but I don't have a favorite.
I think we determined that the office favorite, we've polled the EQ team, and we think White Peach has like a very solid following, among the team. But we worked really, really carefully, as Sydney has mentioned, with our biotech partner in Colorado on the tech side of things to make sure that the technology was as efficacious, was hitting your body as fast as possible. I mean, our body is over 60% aqueous, so the fact that like this is going to start hitting your body and working with you as soon as you sip it was, our first our first goal to make sure this was potent and effective and fast, but also we just wanted to, provide a little bit of delight and fun in your day. So we did work hard to make sure that these flavors, that they taste great. Otherwise, we'd be missing something for you. But so White Peach has a leg up in the office, but encourage you to try them. That's why they come in a 3-pack. We want you to have fun with them. I have one question, if I could put Sydney on the spot. And maybe panelists too, but what are you hearing from our community in terms of like when and how? Tonight, we're all enjoying these as a wind down beverage. This is a happy hour setting. I had a glass of wine with dinner, and I will say, this is like so great. I'm feeling just as, kind of even and don't need to return to any more of that wine. And it's just such a nice sort of replacement. So great for evenings, personally for me, for that use case. What else are you hearing? How's our community using drink drops?
They really are one of the most versatile products that I can think of. They can be used at any time of the day, anywhere, on the go. Again, just being cognizant of the amount of total CBD that you're consuming throughout the day, making sure that you're listening to your body, pulling back if you feel like you're taking too much. But couple examples, they could be really great, if you're somebody who wakes up in the morning and you drink a full glass of water right then, that you're about to start a stressful day, maybe try some drink drops in that water. If you're somebody that likes to work out, you can sip on it throughout your workout. Yeah. CBD is, a lot of people really love it for discomfort and tension. So having it in your system while you're going through that workout to help aid recovery can be really, really beneficial. You could put it next to your bed, drink that throughout the night. Maybe if you're somebody that wakes up and you need water, or you need to go to the bathroom, drink it to wind down after work. School is starting up again, parent teacher conferences, maybe you're
so my husband's in the other room on one of those. So we definitely need AKF CBD in our nights. Love that.
So I don't know, maybe you're driving to a parent teacher conference, or you have a tough presentation coming up and you just need a little bit more, I don't know, maybe you're hosting a webinar for your company and you need a little support when you head into it. Whatever it is, you really can reach for them when you need them. They can be used both during the day and at night, just as with the rest of our product line at the moment.
Sydney, we had a question come in. Someone wants to confirm that they can put these in hot beverages like tea.
So we would not recommend putting them directly into boiling water, or boiling them, putting them in water and then bringing that water to a boil, but they can be used in hot beverages.
And someone also asked about how they would be in coffee. Personally, that does not sound very good to me, because they definitely have a very fruity flavor. So maybe another flavor on the horizon that might mix better with coffee.
I love coffee. I do love my caffeine. I would not recommend putting them into the coffee. Again, not, berry coffee, unless that's something that you love, then go for it. But berry coffee is not my favorite. However, caffeine in tea, I do find that they're really great in tea. I've been really liking them in just plain black tea. I've liked, I've done the orchard berry in that. I've done the white peach, so it's good.
Sydney, do you mind? I sort of briefly brought this up earlier, why you may or may not want to mix alcohol and these drink drops. Could you speak a little bit about alcohol and CBD?
Yes. So just to kind of reiterate what I said earlier, the drink drops are safe to combine with all types of alcohol except for red wine. And that really has to do with the interaction that happens between the two. It just creates kind of this sediment, it's not really the wine experience that you want. Generally, CBD and alcohol combined in moderation is fine. But what we do know is that both CBD and alcohol are metabolized in the liver. So if you do plan on combining them, we recommend going very low, very slow when you first start. Again, listen to your body. And if you do have any underlying medical conditions that could potentially impact the way you metabolize alcohol, we absolutely recommend reaching out to your licensed healthcare provider before combining the two.
Thank you for that. We had a really nice share in the chat from Eileen. who says, I'm eager to make the mocktails with the drink drops and will order drops tonight. Since the new year, I have only had 3 glasses of wine. Just wanted to have a clean start to the year. Then started my first Equilibria kit in January 15th. I'm certainly sleeping better. Placed my subscription order a few days ago. We'll set up a consultation appointment for next week to get more advice.
That is so wonderful, Eileen. Highly encourage you to book that dosage consultation. Our dosage specialists really are, I mean, they're my team, but I'd love to brag about them. They are such a wonderful group of women and will be more than happy to help you with all of your dosage related concerns, help make those dosage adjustments both on the phone then and provide that continued support throughout your entire time here at Equilibria.
And they're so good at explaining everything too. That's one of the things that I love about them. Like, they don't make me feel dumb. They sit you down and they're like, okay, here's how it works. Here's what you need. It's really, really special.
One more double tap on that. I can't not take this opportunity just to quickly say, again, we are not a products company. We are a products company and a services company. And we are so committed to just being your partner on this journey. CBD is not a destination. It really is a journey. This is not Western medicine that you take after you have a headache to make it go away. Or, after you're having elevated stress on a flight to make that calm down. It can be useful for those use cases, but the whole point is, how do we use a natural plant-based therapy to help our body not have those elevated moments of stress? So because of that, it can take some experimentation. Like Sydney says, it can take, going low and slow, listening to your body, being mindful of how it's working, sticking with a routine. So just, to have a partner in that journey to wellness is what we're all about. This is a team of credentialed, educated, health professionals who are here to help. So please take advantage of that. That is why we're here. It is free with your membership. Each and every one of you are members. And it's why we're here. And it's where we see the greatest results from our incredible community. Oh, good. Yes, we love Shay. That's so wonderful. Thank you.
And one thing to note, Coco saying travel, your CBD, you can travel with it domestically. It is federally legal. We do provide full spectrum CBD, which means it will always have less than 0.3% THC. So it is cool to travel with it all around the US. We do recommend looking up the laws in the destination country you're going to if you do plan on traveling out of the US with your CBD. But when it comes to travel with the drink drops in particular, just be mindful of how cabin pressure can affect the way the drink drops squeeze. Mm-hmm. So totally fine to bring them on the plane. Just be mindful that you're going to want to hold them very close to the liquid, just in case that the cabin pressure kind of messes with the way that they squeeze.
Sydney, I have a question. Any considerations for storage? Like, can we keep them in the fridge to kind of give it a cold start, or does it have to be on shelf?
They can be stored in the fridge if you'd like. Yeah, they can be stored. You can keep them in your bag if you want. You can keep them on a counter. We do recommend typically keeping CBD out of direct sunlight, as CBD is light sensitive. But other than that, the drink drops should be good to go.
Amazing. Thank you.
Well, this has been so great, everyone. Thank you so much. This was such a little fun happy hour moment. We had a great little community crowd here tonight too. It was great to learn some tricks from Cal. We really enjoyed this. Thank you so much, Sydney. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Kaz. Thank you, Shruti. Thank you, Coco.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Amanda, and thank you to our incredible community. We are only here because of you. You give us a reason to come to work every day. It's your stories, it's your results. We're here for you. Do not hesitate. Any questions about drink drops, newest products, oldest products, your routine, things not working, whatever you need, we're here for you.
If you try these, let us know. We want to see them.
Yes. And you'll be getting an email tomorrow as a reminder with the code we talked about earlier. And it will have all the recipes, and it will have a recording of this webinar. So you can rewatch all of the recipes being made by Cal as well.
Awesome. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you, guys.